G'day, welcome to the Sean Bowes Marathon Training Program. Here I'll just take you through the basics of training for a marathon, how you should do it, what sessions you should be doing, how much mileage, what type of intensity you should be training at, and how much rest you need. The frequently asked questions of marathon training are, how do I train? What are the specific sessions? What's the best session in terms of a time benefit basis? What's the longest run I should do? And then people usually ask, how the bloody hell do I run that far? This is when they get what's known as sour grapes. Like this big bopper here, you can see they start to think, oh, maybe they're not built for it, or they can't do it, or, they never wanted to do it anyway. It was just a thought that crossed their mind. But I can say, just relax. I've done it, and I can show you how to do it. You can see that picture of me running around the course like a legend. And I've trained several other people to run marathons and personal bests. Some of whom you may know. Here in the top of the screen, we got Adam Franklin. He did a 35-minute marathon PB, training on my programs. On the other corner at the top is Ben Urban, another guy who took some 40 minutes off his marathon best, with a little bit of extra training, but also with a specific race plan that he actually stuck to, unlike his first attempt where he took off like a whirling dervish and fell in a hole. Down at the bottom there, the guy in the white is David Croft, former professional footballer. So for people who say they're not really built for running, this guy's built like a brick supermarket, but to his advantage, he's as hard as a cat's head, and he's taken that hardness across to his running, and he's done quite a few marathons and almost beaten the 4-hour mark. And on the bottom, in the black there, is another guy, Tom Guest, who had the simple goal of just running a marathon out, and that's what he did. On his debut marathon, he came marauding into the finishes straight like Gurners Lane in the 1982 Melbourne Cup, and ran it out like a true guru. The guys in the middle you might recognise. They often train with me on a Saturday in the dark. We run down at Bondi, and I'm trying to get Trent Langlands under the 75-minute mark for the half marathon. I think he might have been close, maybe not quite yet, but we're working on that, and hopefully that happens sometime soon. So, in terms of training for the marathon, I like to keep a simplicity in the framework. I think people that decide to run a marathon, once they get over their sour grapes, they either just do what they know, which is often not a lot, or it's just running, or they might run to and from work, or do a couple of 8K runs, 10K runs, or they'll either do that, or they'll go on to Google and look up marathon training programs, and then they'll be overwhelmed with information, because there's a lot of information out there, and it's hard to know what to keep and what to get rid of. Cutting through the clutter can be quite daunting in itself. So someone like myself who's trained for and run a few marathons and tried stuff out, I like to keep it simple for myself, and the people that I coach, I like to keep it simple for as well. So you can see the options on the screen there, and they're like the hallmarks of your training program: your long run, your interval training, and your tempo running. And rest is very important as well. So outside of these 3 sessions at the top, they're kind of like your hard sessions of the week. If you're going to, and anyone who's going to go step up from that. So these 3 sessions at the top set the basic framework of your program. And if you wanted to step up a couple of levels, you're only going to really add in extra training runs, which are pretty slow and easy, which just up the mileage and make these hard sessions a little bit easier and little bit more productive. So you're not really searching for, the lost city of gold. You're just doing your basics, and then in the sessions in between, you fill in with easier runs. And you can see that on these 3 templates I've got on the screen now. You can see on the left, beginner, moving across to intermediate and advanced. And if you look at the beginner compared to the advanced, the basic framework is the same. You've got your long runs on the right down on a Sunday, which you can do them on a Saturday if you want Sunday off. I generally take Monday off. That's just a personal preference, since I don't work on Mondays. But if you notice everything else, it's pretty much the same all the way from the left to the right, other than the guys on the right have extra blue shaded sessions, which are just easy mileage that are going to build a bigger base fitness and allow you to peak even higher. In fitness, there's this principle that it's like a triangle. The wider the base goes, the higher the peak. And the guys in the advanced category will obviously build more miles, and they'll get up to a higher peak or a faster race time than the guys on the left. But the basic sessions are the same. The beginner's just doing the nuts and bolts. You've got your interval training there in the yellow, tempo in the red, and I've got the hills in green, which are basically just interval training, but I've just changed it because I wanted to make it different because it's hills. And you see a lot of rest days there in the beginners, and in the advanced, just less rest days and more easy running, building the mileage. Down in the bottom section, you can see the last 2 weeks, there's a significant section shaded in orange, and that's your 10-day taper zone. That's when you start to wind down the training. So by that last green session, you've done 10 weeks of solid training, all the hard work's in the bank. Take it easy from there. If you want to just even go lighter than what the program says, that's fine. Just keep your training up and keep turning the legs over so you still feel fresh, you still feel vibrant, but you're not going to get any fitter in that time. So you may as well just look after yourself, and you want to be really jumping out of your skin on that final day of the program, which is the race. Now, digging deeper into the program here, we can see in the blue bars are the mileage. So this is an example of someone who starts at around 60 kilometres a week, and then you step up the mileage as you see those bars going up. So you go up by no more than 10% each week, and this example builds up to 100 Ks a week, and then it drops down in week 8. That's where I'd propose, and this is flexible as well. You can do this in anywhere between week 6 and 9. That's where I'd propose having like a warm-up race or a test event, maybe a half marathon or a city to surf, something that you're going to get a good hit out in, but you'll have enough time to recover for your big race, which is the red mark down in week 12. So you're building up the intensity. You're building up the mileage. You have a little down week, and you can see on the performance line, which is the purple part, your performance really crests there because you do less mileage, and then your mileage comes back up. Your performance will drop down again because you've just raced and you're a bit sore. But your training intensity, which is the green line, keeps building up, and then it starts to drop down towards race time as your mileage drops right off, and then you're ready to race on the red. And then the week after the race, we have no training because we're going to be celebrating legendary personal best. Okay, digging deeper into the program again and talking about individual sessions. This is just something I made up real quick. I heard about this at a coaching conference I was at, and as you can see, it's a pre-session self-assessment template, and there's a smiley face, an in-between face, and a happy face. And down the left are 3 key factors of training indication, and they are physical. Are you sore? Do you have niggles? General fatigue. The second one is mental, emotional. Are you at breaking point? Did you just get sacked from your job? Are you about to walk outside and bash someone? Are you just not there mentally? Are you mentally fatigued as well? And then down in the bottom one is sleep. Have you had enough sleep? Are you completely cactus? Or are you feeling good? And I'd say, because I love, listening to my body and taking sessions off because I'm not feeling right, that's what I pride myself on. You don't have to do this on the template. You can just do it mentally. Like if you're physically, mentally, and emotion and sleep wise, if you're in the lower end, in the unhappy face, like you see there at the top, where all the ticks are under unhappy, I would take the day off. I'd go get a big bag of M&Ms and sit down and watch a replay of the 1985 State of Origin game too. Just take it off. You're not going to get anything good done on the track. Your body's not up to it. Have a rest. But if, as you see down the bottom, if you are feeling good and you see he's in the smiley face and into the in-between phase, that's pretty much as good as it's going to get. You may as well go to your session and have a great time. And with this, you'll start to learn more about your body the longer you go. So it's a little bit hard to know what to do at the start of your session. At the start of your program, because maybe you're not attuned to marathon training. You think any kind of soreness is cause for concern, but all I can say is you've just got to experience it, and the larger field of data you get on your own feelings, then you'll know what to do. The long run, here it is. This is the hardest part, or so I hear, the hardest part of the training regimen, and people hate it, and they ask, how do we run for so long? And I haven't got an answer other than you just have to do it. If you look at this photo here, that's us out on a long run, and we're looking pretty happy. You just got to wear your shorts and socks and shoes, and away you go. You just switch off and start running. As I said to a person I trained this year for the Gold Coast Marathon, I said, look, as long as I've been going, the marathon hasn't got any shorter, and I don't think it's going to get any shorter anytime soon. So just suck it up and do your long runs. I don't know what else to say. Getting back to the marathon, it's totally possible no matter who you are. I've done it. Several other people have done it who I've coached, and they're not necessarily runners. They come in all shapes and sizes. But if you follow these guidelines, the simple training plan, the gradual increases in mileage and intensity, plenty of rest, and do your bloody long runs, happy days. And this is one of my favorites, Toshiko Seiko, who was a great Japanese marathoner back in the 80s. And his quote is, "The marathon is my only girlfriend. I give her everything I have." So that sums up how you should train for the marathon. Give it your all. No matter what your level, just be committed to doing it as best you can. It's also interesting that Seiko drank beer every night of the week, and he used to drink until he was tired enough to go to sleep. So that was anywhere between 2 and 12 beers, which is not commonplace, but I suppose it worked for him. He was a world #1 runner for quite some time. If anyone wants further help on marathon training and programming, they can hit bosefitness.com. There's a marathon programs page there, or you can fill out a contact form and get in touch with me via email. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you out on the track.